Hi everyone. I'm going to shift my camera here so it's not so bright from this window. Corey Thomas here from Sorrow Community Farm. Today we are going to be making a nature window necklace. So there's a couple materials we need. I'm going to shift my camera a little bit just so you can kind of see what we are working with. So back up a bit. There we go. So you received a couple of things in your kit. You got a mason jar lid. I actually gave you two, and two of a couple things. So you can make more than one of these later. But you have a mason jar lid, a piece of paper, some string, a sticker sheet, and I asked you to get a pair of scissors and some flower petals, which I have over here. Something else that's going to be really helpful for us to have that I don't think I mentioned in the email is just a marker. Even a pen or a pencil will work. You're going to want that as well. So this video, you can feel free to pause. If you're going to make questions, you can send me a note. But these are really easy to make, and they're really easy to find the materials for. These are just mason jar lids. And these sticker sheets, you can find them at a craft store like Michael's or Joann Fabrics. They usually have them in like the scrapbook aisle. So first thing first, I'm going to take my mason jar lid. I'm going to put it down on a piece of paper, anywhere really, doesn't matter where. This piece of paper just can be used as a guide to help us know where we're placing our petals on the necklace. So I'm going to get my marker. I'm going to hold down the lid with one hand, and I'm going to draw around with my marker. Okay, just like that. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get my sticker sheet ready. And this part is a little tricky. You might need help from an adult for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly peel. This piece of paper is actually two. It's a sticky part on top and a paper part on the bottom. It's a little tricky to get it started. You kind of have to peel at the corner. I think it's really special to make crafts that use natural materials. It's important to try and not take things that are too big or that will hurt animals. For example, it's nice to get leaves that have already fallen on the ground. Or for example, I got my flower petals from plants that had a ton of flowers on them, because if you have a plant that only has one flower, you might not want to take it because the flower, that might be the only flower the plant makes that year. And flowers are really important for our pollinators. Ooh, this is tricky. I think for my adults who have longer nails, this might be helpful because I am. Ooh, there we go. So you're just gonna get it started there and see it's two pieces, and I'm gonna carefully peel off the clear part, and I'm gonna lay it sticky side up on my piece of paper. Okay, and I'm gonna try and get it to stick. I'm not gonna touch it. There we go. So now my sticky sheet is right on the paper. Let's see, can you see that okay? You can. All right, I might actually shift a little bit so it's less of a glare. There we go. Okay. So once I have my sticky piece of paper on here, right above the circle that I drew, because I want to know how big my window is going to be for my necklace. So I'm going to get some pieces of petals and things, and I'm only going to place them where that circle is. So let's see, I think I want that yellow petal right there. And it's nice to try and use things that are very thin. So for example, this flower, I'm taking the petals off because the middle part, or that's called, there's a lot of parts in the middle of the flower there, but the main part of the flower would be too thick for our necklace. So it's nice to use thin things like leaves or flower petals. Blades of grass work well. Ooh, I touched my paper. That's okay. I'm gonna push it back into place. There we go. Okay. So, ooh, I see a little bug on one of my flower petals. There you go, blow them away. All right, let's see here. I have a big, pretty pink petal. I'm gonna put right in the middle. Ooh, I like that one. I got some tiny white flowers. And it's okay to push them down a little bit, or you can just let them fall onto the paper if you're worried about it sticking. And I do have a couple small purple flowers I'm gonna put in. And you have to be careful when you pick some flowers. You don't want to disturb a bee that might be getting some breakfast. Okay, so I am happy with this design. I think this is enough flower petals for me. What I'm gonna do now, and this part, once again, a little tricky, you might need help from an adult. So I made sure all my flower petals are in the circle that I drew on my piece of paper. I have my sticky sheet, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up the other end of the sticky sheet, and I'm gonna fold it over to make it line up as if I'm folding the piece of paper in half. But I only want the edge to touch. See, kind of like that. Let's see if I can get my fingers off of it. That's what we want to do first. I want to get it to fold over and make a little loop, because what I'm going to do next is I'm going to hold this part down and I'm going to sweep it this way. So I folded it over just to make it touch the other end, and now I'm going to put my hand here and flatten it this way. Oof. Just like that. And you'll see the end here gets crinkled up, and that's okay, because that's not going to be part of our necklace. Look, I even think I trapped an air bubble in there. So just flatten it out around the flower petals as best you can. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold it down where I had my flower petals. So there's the circle we drew. I'm going to line up the flower petals again, and then I'm going to use the same marker, and I'm going to draw over my circle. And this is going to be where we're going to cut. See, I take this away and I have a little circle around my flower petals. Okay, so now that I have my flower petals and I have my circle, I'm going to cut around the circle. Be very careful using scissors. Go nice and slow. There's no rush. You can always pause this video if you're at an earlier step. So once we cut out our circle, look at that. I like how that came out. So once we have our flower petals, we're going to insert it into our necklace. But before we do that, I want to make sure there's something to hang the necklace with. So I have some of this yarn, and it's got some really fun frills on it. I like this. I'm going to loop this right through my ball jar lid, and I'm going to tie it. You might need to ask an adult's help to help you tie a knot. And this is extra tricky because there's so many frills on it. Oh my goodness, it looks like it's tangled, but it's not. Okay, so I've tied my knot. There's my necklace. Okay, so these lids are meant for ball jars. Ball jars are actually really, really helpful for farmers who want to save their veggies. They maybe make some pickles or have some canned tomatoes. There's the lids that goes on top of the jar, but they're helpful for crafts too. So I'm going to put the jar with the screwed part down, just like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little window and place it right down in here. And you'll notice, see, I'm happy this happened. See how mine is too big to fit into the ball jar lid? That means I'm just going to cut it a little bit more. let's see, can I cut it around the edges a little bit more? And don't want to cut too much because we don't want it to be too small, but I'm going to cut a little bit more. Let's see, will it fit now? And it's okay if it's a tight fit. That means it'll stay inside the necklace. Still a little too tight. Almost there though. Okay, and if you make it the right size, if you squeeze it in, it fits on the inside of the lid just right. Now I have myself a cool nature window necklace, just like that. These are also fun. If you want, you can make a couple of these and put them on a wind chime, because sometimes the sound of the ball jar lids clinking together makes a fun little noise if you make a couple of them together. So anyways, my friends, that is today's craft. Hopefully this made sense to you. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to email me if you want to know how any of the steps were done that you missed. But hope you have a fun time making this and hope you make more. I included the materials to make a second one, so you can make 2 different ones with all different colors. All right, my friends, thank you so much. Have a great day.